Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring something that honestly might challenge a lot of what you think you know. We're looking at those common life rules. You know, the ones we've basically followed since we were kids.
Yeah, the ones that feel inherently good or right.
Exactly. But what if, and this is what our sources are suggesting, what if these rules are actually making your life, well, unnecessarily difficult, holding you back from, say, genuine connections or even career advancement, personal happiness? It sounds kind of wild, but the research we dug into suggests these rules can create the exact opposite of what they promise.
That's right. And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We want to unpack maybe 8 of these really deeply ingrained beliefs. We'll look at their actual impact, pulling from some pretty fascinating source material that really pushes back on conventional wisdom.
So getting beyond the surface level.
Totally. We'll pull out the important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights, and explore how maybe challenging these rules could be a shortcut, believe it or not, to unlocking more success and fulfillment.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's shake some assumptions. Where do we start?
Start with a big one. Rule 1, always be polite to everyone.
That one's deep. It's like hammered into us from day one, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Our sources even mention things like, instinctively saying thank you to an ATM or apologizing when someone else steps on your foot. It feels almost morally wrong to even question being polite.
It does. But here's the counterintuitive finding from the behavioral research we looked at. Being relentlessly polite, especially to rude people, it actually trains them to treat you worse.
Wait, trains them? How?
Well, think about it. The sources call it an enabling loop. Someone cuts in line, or maybe a coworker keeps taking credit for your ideas.
Okay.
And if you respond with like a meek smile or just quiet acceptance, you've basically given them the green light. You've shown them there's no downside to disrespecting you. One study we found actually put a number on it. People who consistently met aggressive behavior with excessive politeness were, get this, 40% more likely to face that same disrespect again later.
40%? Wow. That's significant. So it's not just about them, it's also about what it does to us inside.
Precisely. That's the other side of the coin. Every time you swallow that natural reaction, frustration, annoyance, whatever, you're basically building up this pressure cooker of resentment.
Psychological damage, the sources called it.
Yeah. You keep up the polite front because you've suppressed a totally normal human response. It doesn't make you noble. It makes you like a walking stress bomb.
Okay, so if being a doormat doesn't work and just makes you miserable, what's the alternative they suggest?
The sources point towards what successful people often do instinctively. They match energy, not with meanness, that's key, but with firm boundaries that demand respect. They signal, this far, no further. The idea is that real respect doesn't come from unlimited niceness.
It comes from boundaries.
Exactly. And when your kindness is selective, when it's earned through mutual respect, it actually carries more weight. It's not just a default setting anyone can exploit.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. So boundaries over boundless politeness. Okay. What about our ingrained need for self-reliance? That leads us to rule number 2, right? Never ask for help because it shows weakness.
Yes. Another one from childhood. Self-reliance is the gold standard.
Totally. And by the time we're adults, needing help feels like a personal failure.
It creates, and I love this phrase, armies of isolated people reinventing wheels. Totally unaware that someone just a few desks away could fix it in like 5 minutes. And this leads directly to what our sources call career damage.
How so?
Well, people who never ask questions in meetings or who struggle alone with new software or tasks, they miss out on crucial mentorship. They miss learning opportunities that could literally shave years off their learning curve. They stay stuck, not because they aren't smart, but because they won't tap into the wisdom around them.
That image, armies of isolated people, is really powerful. But the flip side, that asking for help signals intelligence. That feels so backward compared to what we're taught.
Asking for help shows self-awareness. It shows you recognize the limits of your own knowledge and that you value someone else's expertise enough to seek it out.
And it's interesting because when you think about it, truly successful people often do ask for help constantly, don't they?
All the time. They seek advice on investments, on career paths, on big decisions. They build these powerful networks. And here's a key insight. When someone helps you, they become a little bit invested in your success.
Ah, that's a good point.
So while the person refusing help might stay stuck on the same problems year after year, hitting the same walls,
Right.
The person brave enough to ask accelerates their growth. They leverage that collective wisdom. It opens doors.
Okay, so asking for help is smart, not weak. Got it. Let's move to the workplace more specifically. Rule number 3. Follow all the rules at work to get ahead.
Another one straight from our school programming.
Definitely. Show up on time, sit where you're told, raise your hand. The message is compliance equals reward. So, naturally, we think following all the company rules leads to success.
But the source material really challenges that. It suggests that strict rule followers often end up in what they call career purgatory.
Career purgatory.
Yeah, like they become invisible, reliable, sure, but just part of the background furniture. They get overlooked for promotions, for leadership roles.
Why, though? Isn't reliability good?
It is, but real innovation, the kind that drives companies forward, often requires bending or even breaking some rules. It requires calculated risks. Organizations don't just need compliance, they need people who can see beyond the current way of doing things.
Okay, but isn't there a danger there of being seen as, difficult? A troublemaker?
That's the nuance, isn't it? Managers tend to promote people who demonstrate independent thought, people who strategically challenge processes to make them better, not just mindless robots.
So it's about how you challenge.
Exactly. The employee who asks why things are done a certain way and offers a thoughtful alternative shows leadership potential. Perfect rule following, on the other hand, makes you predictable. And predictable, unfortunately, can often mean replaceable in the corporate world.
Replaceable. That's harsh, but I see the logic.
The real value is in proactive contribution and problem solving, not just ticking boxes.
So the takeaway here seems to be that career advancement isn't just about perfect compliance. It requires smart risk-taking, a willingness to constructively question the status quo, knowing which rules are essential and which ones might be flexible for a better outcome.
Precisely. It's about strategic disobedience sometimes.
Strategic disobedience. I like that. Okay, that leads us neatly into another area where rules feel incredibly rigid. Rule number 4. Don't talk about money with friends or family.
Oh, the big taboo.
It really is, isn't it? Talking about your salary feels like sharing nuclear launch codes or something. And this silence creates this kind of magical fog around money that keeps everyone financially clueless.
You could be underpaid for years doing the exact same job as a colleague who makes way more. But you never know because no one talks numbers. You miss out on investment tips, maybe side hustle ideas, negotiation strategies, things that could genuinely change your financial future, all because we pretend money isn't a thing we discuss. It's like a self-imposed handicap. Employers absolutely love salary secrecy. It lets them lowball offers, maintain pay gaps. Because if you don't know what others are making, you have no leverage.
That makes perfect sense.
But then you look at the contrast, which our sources highlight.
Yeah.
Wealthier people often discuss money strategies constantly. They share tips, they talk tax advantages, they strategize about building wealth. Part of the reason the rich get richer, it suggests, is simply because they talk about how to do it.
That's a really powerful point. And it also touches on money shame, right? People feel embarrassed about debt or financial struggles, so they don't seek help.
Exactly. Admitting you have money problems feels like admitting some kind of moral failing. So people suffer in silence instead of getting advice or support.
So the core message here isn't about being nosy, it's about empowerment.
Precisely. Open money discussions, the sources argue, lead to better career decisions, smarter investments, and protection from being exploited. It's not rude, it's actually essential for navigating the financial world and avoiding the manipulation that silence enables.
Okay, so talking money is actually self-protection. Which brings us to another rule that seems noble but might undermine us. Rule number 5, always put others first before yourself.
The virtue of self-sacrifice.
Right, it's worshipped. And self-care gets painted as like pure selfishness. We feel guilty for taking a break, for saying no to extra work on the weekend. Society tells us good people always put others first. What's the hidden damage there?
Constantly putting everyone else first is basically a fast track to burnout and resentment. And frankly, being treated like a doormat.
A doormat, huh?
Yeah, the material says people pleasers attract users like magnets. You become the go-to person for favors, the shoulder to cry on. But maybe people aren't there for you when you need something. Your generosity just becomes expected. It creates these really lopsided relationships.
That sounds exhausting. And you mentioned a paradox earlier that neglecting yourself actually makes you less able to help others effectively. How does that work?
It's simple, really. When you're running on empty, emotionally drained, stressed out, exhausted, you just don't have the capacity to offer real quality support.
Hmm.
You might listen, but you have no energy for helpful advice. You might agree to help with a project, but then you do a half-hearted job because you're depleted. Prioritizing your own well-being isn't selfish. It's like the prerequisite for being genuinely helpful and productive long-term.
You got to fill your own cup first.
Fill your own cup. Okay, so self-care isn't selfish. It's strategic, essential even. It's essential, exactly, for sustainable relationships, for productivity, for just your overall sanity. The sources emphasize that successful people understand this. They prioritize their health so they can show up fully for the things that matter. And here's a key insight. People tend to respect those who value themselves.
That makes sense.
So putting yourself first sometimes. It's not selfish, it's strategic. For long-term success and, honestly, for genuine happiness, too.
Valuing yourself enables you to value others better. Okay, this connects directly to rule number 6. Never say no to people who ask for favors.
The chronic yes-sayer.
Yeah, we often see them as saints, right? Like the human Swiss Army knife, always available, always helpful.
Yep.
Watching dogs, watering plants, helping friends move. Again, what's the downside of always saying yes?
Well, as we just touched on, it creates those lopsided relationships. You become the default favor doer. People take, and maybe they don't give much back. Your generosity stops being appreciated and starts being, well, expected. Entitlement creeps in.
Yeah, I can see that.
But the really crucial part, the hidden cost, is the trade-off. Saying yes to everything someone else asks for means you are automatically saying no to your own stuff.
Ah, right, the opportunity cost.
Exactly. Every time you agree to help someone else move on a Saturday, that's time you're not spending on your own project or resting or with your family. Your own priorities get pushed aside. You might feel like a good person, but you're essentially sacrificing your own life bit by bit.
And here's the twist again. Similar to the politeness rule, our sources suggest people actually respect boundaries more.
They do. It's counterintuitive. But when you set limits, when you sometimes say no, you signal that your time and energy are valuable, that you are valuable. And when you do say yes, selectively, your help is actually more appreciated because it's not just automatic. It means something. Saying no isn't about being unkind. It's about protecting your resources for what truly matters to you.
Protecting your time and energy. Okay. That theme of holding back leads us to rule number 7, a classic from The Office. Wait your turn and don't speak up in meetings.
Oh yeah, straight out of the kindergarten classroom playbook.
Totally. Speak out of turn, get detention. So as adults, we often just sit quietly in meetings, waiting to be called on, which might just never happen.
And the result, according to our sources, is that you risk becoming office furniture. Or, as one source put it, the professional equivalent of a well-behaved kindergartner.
Ouch.
You have these brilliant ideas bouncing around in your head, but you never share them because the moment isn't perfect or someone else is talking. The sources warn that waiting for that perfect moment basically guarantees you'll never speak at all. Your insights just vanish.
That's a scary thought. But the fear of interrupting, of seeming rude or pushy, is real for a lot of people. How do the sources suggest navigating that? Differentiating between useful input and just being disruptive?
That's a great question, and it's key. The sources highlight that confident people who interrupt strategically, keyword strategically, and share their ideas boldly are the ones who get noticed. They get promoted, they're remembered.
So it's not about volume, it's about value.
Exactly. It's about interjecting with a concise, relevant point that moves the discussion forward. Or asking a clarifying question. It's not just talking for the sake of talking. They become seen as leaders because they make their contributions visible and timely. The research is clear. Meetings reward participation and visibility, not silent confidence.
Your expertise is useless if no one knows about it.
Pretty much.
So, strategic interruption, confident speaking, these aren't bad manners, they're actually leadership skills, necessary for getting ahead.
That's the argument. Essential for advancement and building influence.
Okay, final rule. Number 8, don't brag about your achievements to anyone.
Humility?
Yeah.
Or maybe false modesty.
Yeah, society tells us talking about success makes you arrogant, unlikable, so we downplay everything. You could, I don't know, cure cancer, and you'd still be like, it was a team effort, got lucky.
Right, and the direct consequence of that, the sources show, is that your accomplishments stay hidden, buried, where no one can see them or value them.
They're simple but true.
Think about it. Your manager can't advocate for you, can't push for your raise or promotion based on amazing work they never even heard about properly. Quiet competence, as appealing as it sounds, often just gets ignored.
But again, that line between sharing wins and just being an obnoxious braggart feels so thin sometimes. How do you do it right?
Another crucial distinction. The research suggests successful people share their wins strategically. It's all in the how. Obnoxious bragging focuses on ego. Look at me, I'm amazing.
Right.
Confident self-advocacy, on the other hand, focuses on value and results. You talk about the impact you had, the problem you solved, the benefit you delivered to the team or company. I led the project that resulted in X. It's about demonstrating your contribution, not just shouting about yourself.
So focus on the results, not just the action.
Exactly. And the harsh reality, according to the material, is that consistently hiding your achievements means you will get passed over. Promotions, raises, interesting projects, they go to the people who make their value visible. In today's world, that silence can genuinely be career suicide.
Career suicide. That's a wake-up call. It's not enough to be good. People have to know you're good.
Precisely. So as we wrap this up, you look at all these rules together.
Yeah.
Being endlessly polite, never asking for help, following every single rule, staying silent about money, always putting others first, never saying no, waiting your turn silently, hiding your wins. It really starts to look like a pattern, doesn't it?
It really does, like self-sabotage disguised as good manners or being a team player.
Exactly. Learned with good intentions in childhood often keep people stuck as adults, maybe mediocre, maybe even invisible.
And challenging them, questioning them as an adult, that seems to be a key difference maker. It's what separates people who break through from those who stay trapped in that outdated thinking.
It really seems to be. Strategically challenging these norms seems linked to gaining real respect, getting ahead faster, and finding a deeper sense of fulfillment than just playing by the old, often unhelpful rules.
If these rules were supposed to make us polite, self-reliant, good team members, but following them strictly often leads to the opposite: resentment, isolation, being overlooked, then what really defines a good or successful person today?
That's a big question. Maybe it's less about following prescribed rules and more about cultivating genuine self-awareness, strategic action, and authentic connection.
Something to definitely think about. Thank you for joining us on this really eye-opening deep dive.
My pleasure.
We really hope you, the listener, take a moment to reflect. Which of these rules might you be following without even realizing it? And maybe what's one small way you could start challenging one of them this week?